August 11, 1943. Kiwi bomber pilot Flying Officer Lloyd Trigg attacked the German submarine U-468 in the South Atlantic off Senegal. On the first pass, the submarine's anti-aircraft weapons seriously damaged the bomber. Instead of attempting a water landing, Trigg conducted a second attack run. As the bomber released depth charges, the Liberator aircraft was hit again and crashed into the sea 300 yards from the stricken submarine, which also went down. Trigg and his entire crew all perished and only 7 German sailors were rescued. Based on German survivor accounts, a report would later be filed detailing the gallant pilot's courage, which led to the award of a posthumous Victoria Cross. Born in Huhora, New Zealand in 1914, Lloyd Allen Trigg served in his school cadet force, studied in Auckland, and then took up farming as well as joining the part-time North Auckland Rifles. He began basic training as a pilot in the RNZAF in June 1941 before traveling to Canada, where he obtained his pilot's wings and was promoted, firstly to pilot officer, then to flying officer, before traveling to the UK in October 1942 to join Coastal Command. Lloyd was posted to West Africa in November 1942, where he began convoy escort and anti-submarine patrols, initially flying Hudsons and then Liberators. He had already been awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross when, on his first operational flight in a Liberator on August 11, 1943, he engaged the German submarine U-468, commanded by Oberleutnant Clemens Scamo. Despite receiving several catastrophic hits and the aircraft in flames, Lloyd managed to drop his depth charges. However, the Liberator crashed 300 yards from the U-boat, killing all on board. The surviving crew of the submarine, including Scamo, were rescued the next day and reported the action, recommending a decoration, and on November 2, 1943, Lloyd Trigg was awarded a posthumous Victoria Cross. The citation concluded, the Battle of the Atlantic has yielded many fine stories of air attacks on underwater craft, but Flying Officer Trigg's exploit stands out as an epic of grim determination and high courage. His was the path of duty that leads to glory. Long after the war, Clemens Scamo said of Lloyd's effort, such a gallant fighter as Trigg would have been decorated in Germany with the highest medal or order. Since Lloyd Trigg has no burial place, he is commemorated on the Malta Memorial to the 2,298 Commonwealth aircrew who lost their lives around the Mediterranean during the Second World War and who have no known grave. The London Gazette of October 29, 1943, gives the following particulars: Flying Officer Trigg had rendered outstanding service on convoy escort and anti-submarine duties. He had completed his operational sorties and had invariably displayed skill and courage of a very high order. One day in August, 1943, he undertook, as captain and pilot, a patrol in a Liberator, although he had not previously made any operational sorties in that type of aircraft. After a search of 8 hours' duration, a surfaced U-boat was sighted. Flying Officer Trigg immediately prepared to attack. During the approach, the aircraft received many hits from the submarine's anti-aircraft guns and burst into flames. Flying Officer Trigg could have broken off the engagement and made a forced landing in the sea, but if he continued the attack, every second spent in the air would diminish his chances of survival. There could have been no hesitation or doubt in his mind. In spite of the precarious condition of his aircraft, he maintained his course and executed a masterly and devastating attack. A short distance further on, the Liberator dived into the sea with the gallant captain and crew. The U-boat sank within 20 minutes and some of her crew were picked up later in a rubber dinghy that had broken loose from the Liberator.